Hey there YouTube. I know it's been a long time since I had uploaded a video, so finally I'm getting around to it. I've had a lot of family issues that I've been preoccupied with, going through a big court battle and everything, lawyers, judges, you know how that goes. It's not any fun. But I finally got a little time to get in here. I built the drawers for my miter saw station, so I want to show you the jig that I used and the process that I used to make these drawers. And then I was finally able to get some tools in these drawers and start organizing my tool situation a little bit, and a little step closer to that ultimate goal of shop organization and efficiency. I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get to work. I'm going to start by ripping down some of this plywood with my cordless circular saw so it's more manageable. Instead of cutting it to 9 inches, I'm going to cut it to 9 1/8, and then I'm going to take it to this table saw and do that last 1/8 inch so I can make sure that all the pieces are exactly the same and they're all perfect. Here I've set up a temporary stop block so that I can use my miter station until I set up the actual permanent stop block system. Since I don't feel that I can trust the miter saw to make perfect 90-degree cuts, I'm using my Incra miter jig here to square one in, and then I use the flip down so that I can make all my pieces the exact same size. Okay, I've got all my box sides and front and backs all cut, and I like to do one at a time just to make sure I keep everything straight. I don't want to mix match parts. One important thing to do is set up your box, your drawer the way you want it, whichever side you like to be up, set it up now. And then I like to mark 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, and you know that the side that you marked is going to be the top of your drawer. And let's go to the table saw with the box joint jig and cut those out. So the box joint jig that I use to make these drawers, I got the idea, the inspiration from William Ng, and that's NG, William Ng. He shows on a YouTube video how to make these. And it's super simple. It's got advantages and disadvantages. The disadvantage for it is if you want to make different sized box joints, you can't. It only makes one size. And I don't care. I've got mine set to do 3/8 box joints. The other disadvantage is if you don't have a dado blade, you can't do this. You have to do it with a dado blade. The advantage, however, is you can make this, I mean, it's kind of like a crosscut sled. It's made out of some scraps that I had laying around. It cost me nothing. It makes them super accurately, and it makes them super fast. Lots of people make those jigs with that you can use a single blade, and you can make an infinite size, you know, box joints. You can make them small, you can make them big, and the good thing about it is, yeah, you can make different size, but it takes forever to move the thing over, you know, an 1/8 inch of a time. I don't have that kind of time. I like to just rip through them on the dado blade. Show you how I do it real quick. Okay, I got my dado blade in the table saw. I dropped my jig on top of it, and the next step is what determines the depth of the fingers of the joint is to set the blade to the exact height of your material. So I'm just using a piece of scrap material here of the same type of material, so I can do a test cut real quick. I like to do a test to make sure. And you want it to be exact, maybe have the blade stick out just a hair over the top. That feels about good. I'll lock it there. Now when we were setting up our box, we put marks on what was to be the top of the box, and these are very important. This is where they come into play. On our first cut, we're gonna put that mark up against this stop on our sled, and we'll make that cut, and we're doing the fronts and the backs first. So let's make these cuts and then we'll do the sides. Okay, now we're going to cut the companion piece. And so this is the one we just got done cutting, and we have that mark. Now we're going to take this mark and put it on the other side. And we're going to set the first notch onto our little indicator piece there that's sticking through. That sets the depth for our next piece, which it's the perfect work piece to use because it's what's going to go together later. Now this one has a mark, and we're going to put this mark against, both marks should face each other. So we put it in there, and now we can take this one out and cut again. It's a perfect fit every time. So before I start cutting, on my test piece, I was getting a little bit of blowout here on the top. I was getting, it was just tearing out at the top because the top of the blade here is not supported because the blade's a little lower than that hole. So what I'm going to do to prevent blowout on these other pieces is I've set up a marking gauge, and I'm just going to score the I'm going to score the workpiece right where the blade's coming through, and that will keep the wood from blowing out there. I'll do it on the other side. Basically, I just have the marking gauge set to 3/4 inches, which is the thickness of the wood. Now I can cut and not worry about it chipping out. Now that we have all the joinery cut for the box sides, I'm going to go ahead and cut the bottoms of the drawers. Most people use 1/4 inch plywood, but I'm putting in some heavy tools in here, so I like to go ahead and do 1/2 inch so it doesn't sag over time. And I do all my cuts, my initial cuts with a circular saw, but then I take it to the table saw and I finesse all the cuts so that they're exactly the same. When I go to glue up the drawers, I like to lay it all out the way it's going to go together, observing all the numbers that I had marked on the tops of the joints. And I add glue to the tops of all the box joints and spread it because the bottoms of the other adjoining piece are the tops of this one, so I only have to add glue to one part. My bottoms are plywood, so I don't have to worry about wood movement, so I glue in the grooves. Sorry that I didn't show making those grooves. I cut them on the router table, but then I somehow lost that footage. Put 2 sides in and then the bottom, then I spread some more glue and put the second side on. Super easy to assemble these drawers. And a lot of people I know, they use the pocket holes to make drawers, but I just feel like these box joints are way stronger. You clamp this all up and then let it sit for an hour or two for the glue to dry, and then just go on assembling the next set. So here's my assembled drawer. Now that we're done with that, we'll just do the rest of them and move on to the drawer faces. I'm using some nicer birch plywood for that. Like everything else, I rough cut it with a circular saw, and from there I'll take it to the table saw to finish my cuts with a little more precision. So originally I was going to edge band all the drawers, but I decided against that because it's too much work and it's just a shop project. So here I just made a sacrificial fence, and the blade's tilted 45 degrees. I'm going to just put a 45-degree chamfer on all the parts, on all the drawer faces, and I'm just going to let the natural plywood show on the corners, just own it. After that, we sand all the pieces. And here's a little trick. I had numbered these drawers, and it's sometimes hard to sand away pencil marks, so I use a little denatured alcohol, and just rub the markings away, and it's better than sanding through your first layer of plywood. It's easy to get through that veneer, but this just rubs pencil right away. For finish, I did something really simple. I just put some walnut colored Danish oil just to darken them up a little bit. Super easy to apply. And on top of that, I diluted some polyurethane with some mineral spirits so that I can wipe it on. I then went ahead and sanded the tops and applied the same type of finish to them. And for installation of the drawers, I somehow lost the footage where I installed the drawers, but it's pretty self-explanatory how you install the door slides. And here I'm just putting the drawer fronts. It's the only part of the footage I had left of the drawer installation. I just like to clamp them up, and I use a super high precision eyeball method where I just look to see for alignment and screw them on from the back. And that's really all there is to it. Alright, well that's it for today's video. I just want to get them drawers together, put some drawer fronts on it. Next video I'm going to make some drawer pulls, or maybe I'll buy some. I'm not sure exactly how I want to handle that yet. And I'll be getting some T-track to put in the top. I'm going to route out a groove, put in T-track so I can have a stop mechanism. And then after that I'll have to figure out something about building a top cabinet. My real motivation to this was having some organizational space and for some dust collection for the saw. So I have to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that, and hopefully I'll get that done in the next video. Sorry it's taken me so long. I just had a lot of family stuff going on, been real busy. I'm going to try and get some more videos out here soon. See y'all guys on the next one.